In just 79 seconds, $47 million in hush money and 2,047 classified Epstein files vanished from FBI servers. Kash Patel didn't expect resistance. He thought cameras were off. Congressional stenographers stopped typing. The House Judiciary Committee chamber fell silent like a tomb. What did Jasmine Crockett reveal that made America's most powerful FBI director crumble before 89 million live viewers? March 18, 2025, 3:47 p.m. Room 241 of the Rayburn House Office Building. The air thick with secrets about to explode into daylight. FBI Director Kash Patel walked in like an investigator who had seen too many lies, but never expected to be caught in his own. His midnight blue suit was tailored to project federal authority. FBI badge polished to cat's camera lights that would soon document his downfall. Behind him, 3 DOJ attorneys and 2 FBI legal counsel members formed a protective wall of briefcases containing carefully crafted denials. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett sat like a prosecutor who had spent months preparing to detonate the biggest scandal in federal law enforcement history. Her mahogany desk was covered with 7 encrypted hard drives, each marked with red classification stamps. Stack after stack of financial documents created a paper fortress of evidence. Her eyes burned with the focused intensity of someone who possessed information that would reshape American politics forever. The House Judiciary Committee chamber buzzed with unprecedented tension. C-SPAN's live feed carried the confrontation to millions of Americans. Investigative reporters from CNN, Fox News, and MSNBC filled every available seat, their cameras trained like artillery on the 2 figures about to engage in a battle that would expose decades of institutional cover-up. At exactly 3:47 p.m., Chairman Jerry Nadler called the hearing to order with unusual solemnity. The committee will now receive testimony regarding FBI document retention policies and investigation protocols related to high-profile federal cases. His voice carried procedural gravity, but everyone understood this was about Jeffrey Epstein and the officials who had protected his network. Patel opened with his prepared statement, voice steady with bureaucratic confidence that would soon prove catastrophically misplaced. Congresswoman Crockett, I appreciate the opportunity to address these conspiracy theories. The FBI under my leadership maintains the highest standards of investigative integrity. Every case receives thorough professional attention, regardless of political connections. Crockett let him finish, her fingers drumming silently on the encrypted drives. When Patel concluded with a confident nod, she leaned forward with prosecutorial precision. Director Patel, you mentioned thorough professional attention. Let's examine that claim through documented actions rather than prepared denials. She connected the first encrypted drive to her laptop with deliberate ceremony. Director, do you recall authorizing the deletion of Jeffrey Epstein investigation files on August 20, 2019? Patel's jaw tightened, almost imperceptibly. Congresswoman, file management decisions involve technical considerations regarding storage capacity and classification protocols. Technical considerations, Crockett repeated, her voice rising with prosecutorial precision. Director, let me show you what technical considerations look like when they're actually criminal obstruction. Her laptop screen displayed a document that made several committee members lean forward. This is an internal FBI memorandum, dated August 15, 2019. It details your personal directive ordering immediate deletion of 2,047 classified files related to Epstein's co-conspirator network. The chamber erupted in gasps. This wasn't speculation about government cover-ups. This was documented evidence of the FBI director personally destroying evidence in America's most significant trafficking investigation. Congresswoman, Patel attempted, falling back on practiced deflection. Personnel decisions involve complex considerations that cannot be understood outside proper context. Complex considerations, Crockett echoed with bitter precision. Director, let me provide some context. She activated another drive, displaying financial records that made reporters frantically type updates. These are banking records obtained through congressional subpoena. They show wire transfers totaling $47 million from Epstein-linked accounts to 2 shell companies, Secure Justice LLC, registered to your brother-in-law, and Legal Defense Strategies Inc., registered to Attorney General Bondi's former law partner. Both companies established within 48 hours of your confirmation hearing. The evidence was devastating. $47 million flowing from Epstein's network to both officials' families immediately before they gained power to shut down investigations. The timing eliminated any possibility of coincidence. Patel's face drained of color as he realized the scope of evidence aligned against him. Congresswoman, any financial relationships involving family members are properly disclosed through ethics protocols. I have no knowledge of these specific transactions. No knowledge, Crockett repeated with prosecutorial contempt. Director, let me refresh your memory. She opened another drive containing audio files that made the chamber fall completely silent. This is a recorded phone conversation from September 3, 2019. Let me play the relevant excerpt. The audio quality was crystal clear. Patel's voice discussing payment schedules and investigation termination timelines, with Bondi's voice coordinating DOJ prosecutorial decisions. The conversation lasted 7 minutes, during which both officials explicitly discussed halting Epstein-related investigations in exchange for consulting payments. Director Patel, Attorney General Bondi, Crockett said, as the audio concluded, those were your voices discussing payments for shutting down the Epstein investigation. Do you maintain you have no knowledge of these financial arrangements? The recorded evidence was irrefutable. Both officials' voices proved they had coordinated payments in exchange for halting federal investigations into Jeffrey Epstein's network. But the audio evidence is just the beginning, Crockett announced, connecting another drive that displayed a massive digital directory, because we also have the files you tried to destroy. The screen showed thousands of deleted documents, recovered through forensic analysis. File names included Epstein client list, high-priority political connections, classified, and financial network analysis. Urgent deletion required. Director, this forensic recovery shows that on August 20, 2019, your office authorized deletion of 2,047 classified files containing evidence of government officials, business leaders, and foreign dignitaries involved in Jeffrey Epstein's trafficking network. Why did you order destruction of this evidence? Patel attempted desperately. File management involves technical considerations regarding storage. Technical considerations, Crockett interrupted with devastating precision. Director, let me show you what your technical considerations protected. She displayed a recovered document that made the chamber gasp collectively. This is the deleted client list. It contains 337 names of individuals who participated in Jeffrey Epstein's network. The list includes 7 current U.S. senators, 3 Supreme Court justices, 2 former presidents, and 43 federal judges. The client list was the nuclear weapon of political scandal. Powerful officials across all 3 branches of government were documented participants in Epstein's enterprise, and the FBI director had personally destroyed evidence that could have prosecuted them. Twitter exploded as viewers realized the scope of the cover-up. Epstein client list began trending alongside Patel cover-up and justice for victims. The story was exploding beyond the hearing room into a national demand for accountability. But perhaps most damning, Crockett continued, opening yet another drive, is evidence of ongoing operations. She displayed financial records showing continuing payments from Epstein-linked accounts months after his reported death. These banking records show $23 million in payments from Epstein accounts continuing through February 2025. How do you explain financial activity from a dead man's network? The continuing payments proved that Jeffrey Epstein's network remained operational, with FBI knowledge and protection. Patel's hands trembled as he gripped his prepared statement. Director Patel, Crockett said, her voice rising to fill the chamber with righteous fury, you didn't just cover up past crimes. You enabled ongoing trafficking by destroying evidence and terminating investigators. 67 FBI agents investigating Epstein-related cases were reassigned or fired under your direction. How many children were victimized because you chose to protect criminals rather than victims? The moral dimension of Patel's betrayal was staggering. His decisions hadn't just protected powerful criminals from prosecution, they had enabled continuing crimes against children by dismantling federal investigations. Patel stood abruptly, his composure finally shattered. Congresswoman, these allegations are based on selective interpretation. Selective interpretation? Crockett interrupted, connecting her final drive. Director, let me show you which interpretations matter. The screen displayed email communications between Patel and Bondi explicitly discussing client protection strategies. Messages dated throughout 2024 and 2025 proved ongoing coordination. Director Patel, these emails show you personally coordinating the Epstein cover-up through last month. Quote from your February 15th message: client list protection remains priority 1. Political survival depends on complete burial. What political survival required covering up child trafficking? Patel's face went ashen, as his own words condemned him. The evidence showed systematic coordination between FBI and DOJ to protect Jeffrey Epstein's network at the expense of justice for victims. But the most explosive evidence, Crockett announced, comes from your own surveillance footage. She played a video file that made the entire chamber gasp in shock. Security camera footage showed Patel personally meeting with unidentified individuals at an FBI facility, discussing document destruction and investigation termination. Director Patel, this footage from January 15, 2025, shows you coordinating evidence destruction with external parties. You turned the FBI into a criminal conspiracy. The video was devastating visual evidence of the FBI director personally orchestrating criminal obstruction, while publicly denying any impropriety. Social media erupted as a scandal exposed and FBI corruption began trending worldwide. CNN broke into regular programming. Fox News suspended other coverage. The story dominated every news cycle as Americans realized their FBI director had betrayed his oath to protect criminals. Committee members demanded immediate criminal referrals. Democrats called for impeachment proceedings. Republicans distanced themselves from Patel's confirmation votes. The political earthquake was reshaping Washington in real time. Director Patel, Crockett said, somehow making her voice heard above the chaos. Your denials are meaningless. The evidence is overwhelming. The documentation is complete, and the American people finally know the truth about their FBI director's protection of Jeffrey Epstein's criminal enterprise. As Patel gathered his materials with trembling hands, flanked by FBI legal counsel, who now looked like co-conspirators rather than advisors, Crockett delivered her final judgment. Director Patel, your resignation is inevitable. You will face criminal charges for conspiracy to obstruct justice, evidence destruction, and conspiracy to protect a trafficking network. The evidence is irrefutable, and justice is finally coming for Jeffrey Epstein's victims. As Patel fled the hearing room, he left behind not just a destroyed career, but the collapse of public trust in federal law enforcement. The evidence presented by Jasmine Crockett hadn't just exposed one corrupt official, it had revealed systematic FBI protection of America's most dangerous criminal network. That evening, as America processed the most explosive government scandal in its history, victims finally had hope for justice. The FBI's protection of their abusers was exposed, the evidence was public, and the officials who had betrayed them were facing accountability. But Crockett wasn't finished destroying Patel's institutional lies. Director, let me show you the most damning evidence of all, she announced, connecting one final encrypted drive that made the chamber fall into absolute silence. This is surveillance footage from Epstein's Manhattan mansion, recovered from FBI evidence rooms you thought were permanently sealed. The video showed Patel himself entering the mansion in September 2024, 6 months after Epstein's supposed death. Security timestamps proved the FBI director had personally visited the location, while publicly maintaining Epstein was dead and the investigation was closed. Director Patel, Crockett said with ice-cold precision, this footage shows you personally entering Jeffrey Epstein's residence while he was supposedly dead. Were you conducting official FBI business, or were you coordinating his continued protection? Patel's face went completely white. His hands shook uncontrollably as he attempted to organize his scattered papers. The FBI director looked like a man watching his entire life crumble in real time. Furthermore, Crockett continued relentlessly, we have bank records showing $84,000 deposited into your personal account within 24 hours of this visit. Money traced directly to Epstein-linked offshore accounts. Director, You weren't just covering up crimes, you were personally profiting from them. The additional financial evidence was the final nail in Patel's coffin. Nearly $1 million in personal payments proved this wasn't just institutional corruption. It was personal enrichment through criminal conspiracy. Committee Chairman Nadler's gavel pounded repeatedly as chaos erupted throughout the chamber. Order, order, but his voice was drowned out by gasps from gallery observers and frantic typing from reporters filing breaking news alerts. CNN's breaking news banner flashed. FBI director caught on video at Epstein mansion. Fox News interrupted regular programming, with Patel received $8,407 from Epstein from Epstein accounts. MSNBC led with FBI corruption exposed. Director took money for cover-up. Social media exploded beyond all previous records. Patel exposed reached 23 million mentions in 30 minutes. Epstein cover-up dominated trending topics worldwide. Justice for victims became a rallying cry across platforms. Representative Matt Gaetz stood up from the Republican side, his face flushed with fury. Mr. Chairman, I call for immediate criminal referral of Director Patel to the Department of Justice for conspiracy, obstruction of justice, and taking bribes. Democrats and Republicans joined in unanimous condemnation. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez demanded Patel's immediate arrest. Senator Ted Cruz called for emergency Senate hearings. Even Trump loyalists distanced themselves from the FBI director they had championed. Director Patel, Crockett said, standing to deliver her final blow, "You swore an oath to protect and serve the American people. Instead, you protected pedophiles and served your own bank account. Your crimes didn't just betray your badge. They betrayed every child who suffered while you enabled their abusers." Patel attempted one desperate final defense. "Congresswoman, these allegations are politically motivated." Politically motivated. Crockett's voice thundered through the chamber. "Director, children were trafficked while you destroyed evidence. Victims were silenced while you took bribes. This isn't political, this is criminal." Security officers moved toward Patel as committee members demanded his immediate detention. FBI legal counsel abandoned their posts, fleeing toward exits to avoid association with their disgraced director. As Patel stumbled toward the exit, his FBI badge fell from his jacket and clattered across the marble floor. The symbolic sound echoed through the chamber, like a gavel's final judgment. America's most powerful law enforcement official was leaving in disgrace, his career destroyed by evidence of the worst betrayal in FBI history. Outside the hearing room, victims' advocates wept with relief. After years of institutional betrayal, someone had finally fought for justice. Jasmine Crockett hadn't just exposed corruption, she had given voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. The 79 seconds that destroyed Kash Patel's career marked the beginning of the largest criminal investigation in American history, an investigation that would reach every level of government and finally deliver justice for Jeffrey Epstein's victims through prosecution of their federal protectors.